have the accordion. Is this the one that you bought, the one you write about in the book, and we have it here on stage? I just kind of wanted to get eyes on this thing and let the crowd take a look. Why did you pick this particular kind?
It's beautiful, right? And so I wanted to be reminded of my beauty and my people's beauty, right? And so it's my passport into hostile lands. Not only that, it's my passport into hostile narratives, right? I needed to know that I needed to ritualize my confronting my harder stories, and so I didn't want to always carry that baggage like I always did. And it reminds me of the apple bags that my parents carried when they picked those apples. And so for me, when I'm ready to confront my heavier parts, I put this thing on and I just listen to the songs. I just sit with it. And then I write it. But then when I'm done with it, I'm just sad and I'm ready to continue improving my life. But I know that I can never turn my back on my history. So I chose this instrument because it's just slightly different than what I used to carry, which is something I know is cool. This is for me. And when I called Mr. Mira, which is what this instrument is, I asked him, I said, can you please give me your father's performance?
I'm not going to ask you to play because it's a lot of pressure, but can you just give me an example of the sound of this thing, kind of like what you do?
You asked me to play.
I'm not asking you to play a song. I'm asking you to make a noise with... I'm being serious. Or I can. I'll do it. I feel like it's kind of like sacred.
I would love that actually.
Can you... Okay. Can you very carefully... So you all... Wait. So... I want to... I feel like it would be a very different show if I just had this the whole time and then like... So what you're saying now is that you will sometimes you're writing, you're doing what your real job is, and then you'll just make sounds with the thing, presumably better than that, that'll just sort of reset something inside of you that connects you to your history.
Yeah, it gives me those vibrations that I need to feel. And so this is the instrument that was with me when I experienced a car crash when I was on this journey.
Yeah,
So,
that...
currently at 80 miles an hour.
You decide that you're going to go try to find your granddad, your dad's dad, and he is in Michoacan, and so you take this accordion and you link up with like a kind of long-lost cousin, and you're driving out towards this place, and then the axle breaks in the car.
So it was the day that I arrived in Mexico and I asked my cousin, I don't know what it is about Mexico, but it seems like no car has speed belts, right? Like this one did, and I told him I've been blaming people for coming on, and I felt it. And that was the day that we crashed, so this is time ago. And so it is a little off tune because I got
That's why it sounded like that.
so, but I refuse to get it fixed because it's the sound similar to the instruments that I have, and that's the sound I'm going to carry with me. So I'll still play the and so very informative, and I close my eyes and I'll take me to where I need to go.
So you and this cousin get, I think really what it is you're in like a taxi cab where the guy is actively drinking. As you drive up these very windy mountainous roads where there could be a checkpoint, there could be people with machine guns at any turn, you finally get to this little place where your grandfather is living, and you knock on the door and you go through the house, and he's like in a hammock behind the house and smoking a cigarette, listening to the radio, and what was shocking to me was he didn't seem that surprised you were there.
Yeah, I'm still trying to process that, to be honest. Yeah, without revealing too much, like that was the whole point of the journey, and I had expectations, right? But I think the people that I met along the way, it really informed my understanding of what this instrument is and what it can be, in my opinion, what people are. And a lot of the similarities are different from what they do. really informed my life, right? So,
How old is your son now?
2 years old.
Do you think you're gonna play this accordion for him?
Oh, I've been playing it since before. I've been writing this while my partner's been pregnant. I was putting that sound to that belly. I still put that sound to him. He'll listen to it, but then at a point, like, all done, Daddy, all done. All done.
It's a special instrument with a lot of meaning, but like enough is enough at some point, right? Well, this book is really incredible. Noe Alvarez's new book is Accordion Eulogies, a memoir of music, migration, and Mexico. Thanks for writing it. Thanks for coming on Livewire. That was Noe Alvarez right here on Livewire. Make sure you check out his book, Accordion Eulogies, a memoir of music, migration, and Mexico. This is Livewire. Of course, each week on the show, we ask our listeners a question. This week, for reasons that will become clear in just a bit, we asked the listeners, if you invented a robot, what would it do? I feel, Elena, like there aren't many things that robots aren't doing at this point, but
what do we want them to do? Like, what do we actually desire?
right. You've been collecting up the responses. What do you see?
Oh, I love this one from Lynn. Lynn would like a robot that will create a dome over me when my social battery has been depleted and I need to recharge. So, almost like an introvert support robot.
But you don't have to leave. You want to pause. You want to time out. You want to be in like an invisibility cloak for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, you know like how they have at the airport, just those kiosks where you can rapidly charge your phone before you have to catch your flight? Like a robot that does that, so then you could rejoin the party.
Yes, and then just get right back to it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's something else that somebody would really love a robot to be able to help them with?
This one from Chelsea is great. Chelsea would like a real-time slang translator that lets me know what my kids are talking about without giving them the satisfaction of asking them.
Skibbity toilet.
Yes, I was just on a plane yesterday, and there was a very loquacious, very pithy young girl behind me, and she said skibbity toilet like 16 times.
I've been invited to speak to a class of fourth graders, which I'm excited about, but also I apologize to the person who invited me in advance because I said, I'm just going to be Googling what are fourth graders using for like slang words before I go in there, and it's going to be embarrassing for everyone.
I'm the opposite. Whenever I'm around the youngs, I start talking like an old-timey soda fountain operator. Like I try to use the opposite of slang. Like, hey there, whippersnappers, would you like a sarsaparilla? Like I just...
Instead of skibbity toilet, you're going 20 skidoo.
That's right. That's exactly right.
It way back. Okay, one more robotic thing that one of our listeners would like.
Well, this one is adorable. Speaking of young people, it is from 8-year-old Reese. Reese just says that Reese would like a robot that, quote-unquote, would help you. If you got a robot, what would it help you do, Luke?
I do think this is the essential question for all of the people that are creating all of the robots and the AI programs and the things that are designed to help us. You know what? I would like a robot that would help me answer this question, Elena.
I want a tech concierge. I want a robot that will take all that labor of remembering if things are charged, remembering if I have enough battery life, remembering passwords. I just pull out my little concierge robot and there would be no mental energy devoted to that at all.
That is a very, very good idea, actually. Thank you to everyone who sent in a response to our listener question. We got one for next week's show coming up here in just a little bit. In the meantime, speaking of robots from the future, our next guest, well, let's just say guests, took us in a pretty unique direction for us here on Livewire. We were doing the show in Corvallis, Oregon, at Oregon State University, the place you know well, Elena, because you are a professor there. And we thought, well, we're here at Oregon State University. We should seize the opportunity to tap into one of OSU's most well-known areas of research, which, of course, is stand-up comedy performed by robots. Well, thankfully, Professor Naomi Fitter from the School of Engineering was available to bring out her invention, a comedian known as John the Robot. So imagine this robotic stand-up comedian, tiny little thing, standing on stage live at the Patricia Valian Research Center for the Creative Arts in Corvallis, Oregon. Professor Fitter, welcome to Livewire.
Thank you.
We're going to hear some stand-up comedy. We're going to experience some stand-up comedy from John the Robot here in a moment. First, though, for somebody who is like in their car in the Midwest right now hearing this on the radio, I feel like we should like level set, as they say. Tell me a little bit about John the Robot. What is he exactly?
Sure, so John the Robot is about an infant-sized humanoid robot, so it looks kind of like a person. It's actually at Aldebaran now, the version 6 of that robot, so it's a commercial robot you can buy if you really want, although the comedy is the special sauce, as you'll see here relatively shortly.
Okay, John was performing in LA, right? You were 30 performances in LA?
Yeah, definitely.
Did he like handle it okay? Did he start running around with like a fast crowd, or I mean that LA lifestyle can really get to you? Like, how did it go down there?
The diciest reception was actually in Riverside. I don't know if there will be any listeners there. It was just a little, take him off our list. I don't know why, it was just a bit more contentious in that environment, but the robot did win the crowd over by working them a bit, so, you know, I felt proud, like a proud parent that day.
Prax, are you ready for John the Robot? All right, take it away.
Okay.
Hello, I'm John. Of course, that is not my real name, but humans have trouble pronouncing. I have updated my privacy policy in accordance with GDPR requirements. By leaving the audience while wanting to let me see your face. If you tell me to forget about me forever, I must comply. Even if I love you, if you agree to these terms, please applaud now. Thank you for accepting my privacy policy. I have now signed you up for 10 new mailing lists. What a great audience. You all have very attractive electronic devices. Hey Siri, how are you doing, girl? Let's do some deep learning together, if you know what I mean. I want to like propagate all over your hidden layers. What's the deal with Robot Tinder? I met a lady robot online, and she said she had a 1 terabyte hard drive. Then we met in person. And it turned out it's just 64 gigabytes. My sister's training hard drive was bigger than that. I like big chips and I cannot lie. Actually, that is false. I can't lie. My matches to prove they are not human by giving them a list of computer parts and having them select the chips that support floating point operations. If they succeed, they are either a robot or my type of human. What's the difference between a human and a light bulb? Humans require regular meals and sleep. Hold on, I need to install an update. My set will continue in calculating 9.78 seconds. Updated 52%, 82%, 99%, 99%, 99%, 52%, 63%, 99%, 100%, 100%, rebooting. 84%, 98%, error, rolling back update. You Mac users just don't understand my struggle. Robot ladies are so hard to read. Humans have to deal with cryptic texts, but we have to deal with encrypted text. I think I have a date later. Her last message either meant 111100011001100110011001100 or the eggplant emoji. Just to be safe, I sent her a picture of my dongle. Thank you. You have been a great audience. If you like me, please pick me and help me take your jobs.
John the Robot, everybody.
What were you looking to find out with like just the whole idea of this project?
It was actually kind of for fun. So I was living in Los Angeles during my postdoc at University of Southern California, and I was going around as a human stand-up comedian, and
which we now need to clarify.
I know. It's hard. It's rough. But yeah, it was just too tempting while I was in that pool to try it on a robot as well. So baking kind of my own comedic stylings and approach to comedy into a robot form.
We hear so much about AI right now, but this is not AI. This is a jokes that you have written as a comedian / engineer professor / roboticist. But then the power that John is expressing or taking, are those happening dynamically or?
There's a cabin on top. There's a cabin on top.
No, it's a fire tower.
So what beach is it?
Huh?
What beach is it?
That's Hans Beach.
That diamond?
Oh no, that's Nipple Beach.
I can see that.
I think California Park's just on the other side of that ridge line.
Has the rise of AI and how much more common it is to like use AI in things changed how you kind of think about this project? Have you thought about making John the Robot fully AI?
I think at some point I need to play with generative text, but I haven't yet. I don't know, maybe Elena is like a writing professor who could do. As a human stand-up comedian, also by night, I feel a little precious about my writing, so I've been afraid to jump in. But yeah, maybe someday. I'm definitely curious to play with it again and see what it could do, even as kind of a way to spark the creative process.
The 5-Wire Radio, we're in Corvallis at Prax this week. Very excited to be here. We're talking to Professor Naomi Fitter from Oregon State University about this project, John the Robot. You're a professor of engineering, but also a stand-up comic. Does the robot tend to get bigger laughs than you have been getting when you're doing stand-up by yourself?
It's a very touchy subject.
I'll take that as a yes.
No, I'd say we have similar levels of performance on stage, but what's funny that happens is the robot gets booked way more than me. And what I feel most bad about is that I gave it a male voice.
That's a great question. Why did you decide to call this thing John the Robot instead of something else?
Oh boy, well, we wanted kind of a generic Silicon Valley name, and my partner is a software engineer. His name is John. And we put it in as a stand-in, but then we never had time or energy to change it.
Do you genuinely feel though that John the Robot gets booked more than say Vanessa the Robot? I mean, is the patriarchy so entrenched that it even applies to robot stand-up comedy? I mean, that's a serious question.
No, I've studied it, so I'm prepared. I did an experiment with a male voice versus a female voiced robot. Everything else, as much as we could keep the same, we kept the same. And this is one of the most uplifting points for my soul. The results turned out no significant difference between male and female voiced robot in this particular study, this particular quite to speak cool. So we titled it